You are welcome to the Ruch Fashion and Beauty. Today I'll be cutting on this beautiful gown that you are looking at. It has a crop top and a ruche at the lower part. If you look at the structure of the gown, it is divided into two. The upper part, which is the crop top, and the lower part, which is the ruche skirt. So I want you to please watch carefully, stay tuned. Please, if you have not subscribed, make sure you press on the subscribe button and don't forget to press the red bell so that anytime I upload, you'll be able to receive notification of the upload. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. God bless you as you watch. I've already cut out my bodies, my pattern. I'll be using pattern for the holder top. Though some people use freehand, you can also use freehand for the crop top if you like. But for this particular style, I don't want to use freehand because I don't usually like the fitting of freehand. I have a video on how to cut basic body, so you can access the video from the description box. So I've already cut out my bodies, my pattern for the bodies, and from the pattern I've drafted all the necessary things that I need. This is the pattern for the back. After cutting out the back, I will be manipulating this same pattern to cut out the front. And please, if you are somehow confused about the pattern, you can request. If there is request for how I make the pattern, then I can go ahead and make another video of this particular pattern. Thank you. So to start with, I'm placing my pattern. I've already imputed the side seam on the pattern, but the zipper allowance is not there, so I will give space for the zipper allowance. The shoulder line seam is there for the back, and the lower seam allowance is also there for the back. The zipper allowance I'm taking is 1 inch. These are just weights that I made in a lesson. So in order to hold, instead of buying weights, I made this on my own in order to hold down my pattern while I cut. I usually have the separate scissors for the paper cutting, because cutting paper with your cloth scissors, with the same scissors that you use for cutting your fabrics, will make your scissors smoother. So now I'm done with this. So for this, I'll just be cutting out a facing for it. There's no need of lining. I will do that later when I'm done. Then the next thing now is to manipulate my pattern before I use it to cut the front pattern. So in order to do that, this is the same allowance for the shoulder line. I'm going to remove it. I'm having 1 inch here, half inch for the front and half inch for the back, but the two will go together with the has gone together with the back pattern, so I'll be removing it totally. Then the armhole curve for the front, I'll be cutting it out. Next, the dart, the side dart, I'll also cut on the side dart to this point. I'll be careful at this point because I don't want it to cut off. And the waist dart also, I'll be cutting on it, but when I get here, I will leave a small point in order to allow this place to still join together with these bodies. So this is it. After cutting out this, then the next thing is I will come to this side, measure out on my neckline. I already have 2 inches from the shoulder line to this place is 2 inches. So now I will add 5 inches. Okay, let me take 6 inches depth. So because I don't want it to be too low, so I want 6 inches depth. So this 6 inches depth that I take, I'm going to draw a straight line like so. Then I'll come to any side here. It can even be here, or I can shift it to the top a little bit. You can take any point and also draw a straight line. So now the next thing is I will be cutting on this straight line, and I will also cut on this straight line. So after cutting it out this way, I will now adjust this dart. I will close it up like so. I will take my marking tape and use it to hold it down. Then I will also close these side darts and also hold it down. Remember, I've added my seam allowance here, so I'm left with these two openings. So you can open this as much as you like. So I will take a new pattern pit card and I will place this on it this way. I'm just using it to hold this down. After holding it down, then the next thing is I will trim it out. So at this point, I'm going to take a straight line down. So this is what I'll be using to cut out my crop top now. I have folded my fabrics to accommodate the pattern. I hope you can see. But because I'm not putting any lining, so for the neckline, for the back neckline, I'm going to cut a facing. But for the front neckline, I won't be cutting a facing. I will be folding whatever I want to be the facing in this way. So for this, I'll be folding like 7 inches in. And this is okay. Then I will now place the pattern. Because I did not use a set square, you can see what is happening. I'm having excess here because this place and this place must be at right angle. So this excess shows that this line is not straight. So in a case like this, you just make sure you shift to the arm and the shoulder line. This is the measurement you need. You just make sure you shift it until it is exactly on the shoulder line, and you will have a right angle. You place your pattern at a right angle to the dress. So I just have to adjust it up. So all these ones here, they are excess. You don't have to mind it. They are unnecessary excess. So the next thing is to cut out now. So this is our dress. Just fold it out this way, and by the time I'm joining, it will be like this. You can see how it comes out even before sewing it. Look at how beautiful the curl is. I have cut out the facing for the back pattern. So now the next thing is I'm going to take it to the machine. Join the facing first, right side to right side. I will sew this separately, and I will sew this also separately. Then after sewing it separately, I will join it together, taking out the zipper allowance. I have fixed the facing and iron it. So the next thing now is I'm going to mark out the dart line. I'll be taking 1 inch dart at the waist for the back. But before I do that, I have a side dart on my front pattern. So I'm going to remove the side dart, the length of the side dart from the side length here. I'm supposed to have done that with the pattern, but because I'm using same pattern for both front and back, I forgot to before I cut out this. So I'm just going to mark that out. And the measurement is 1.5. I took out 1.5 for the side pattern. So I'm going to remove 1.5 inches from here also. And after cutting out this, then I will mark the waist that 4 inches away from the bust to bust line, bust point to bust point is 8 inches divided by 2, that is 4 inches. So I've notched the 4 inches. I'm just going to pick it, fold it this way, and take ½ inch and sew it up. And to know where the dart will stop, just the usual thing. The bust points I'm working with is 10 inches. I have 1 inch seam allowance here. I'm having 10 inches as my bust point from the main line. Now I'll just go up by 1 inch and mark whatever I'm having there. So from here to here, I can just take it, that is 7 inches upward, and I mark 4 inches like so. Just make the cross here, so that will give me where my dart will stop. So I'll do the same thing here, 4 inches in and 7 inches up. So where the mark intersects is where my dart will stop. And as I go to do that, I will also fix the front as well. So I'll take my front pattern, fold it in the appropriate way. Front side to front side, or right side to right side. So I can notch this place to make it easier. But let me take it to the pressing table and give it a good press. So I've pressed out the facing for the front and the cloth properly. Then I'll just take this shoulder line, place it on this, and I will flip the facing over it, just like this. I will flip the facing over it like this, hold it down with the pin. I will take it to the machine and sew it down. I will do the same thing to the other side. I will also take the other side, place it right side to right side, and I will flip the back facing over the front facing like this. Hold it down with a pin. And I will sew it down. So I'm through with taking the dart. You can see I'm through with taking the dart, and I've joined the shoulder. Another thing I want you to note at this point is, whenever you are trying to stretch out your pattern, you must make sure that this neckline does not exceed 10 inches. It is far better if it does not exceed 10 inches. This is not up to 10, but it must not exceed 10 inches to be on the safer side. So the next thing now is, I'm just going to take the side M. So I'm going to take the side seam 1 inches. I will be joining with 1 inches. Now I'll be cutting the skirt, which is the lower part. To cut that, the first thing I will do, I've laid my clothes, and I will be marking out the seam allowance for joining. And for that, it's going to have an elastic at the band. So I'll be taking 1.5 inches for the elastic casing and the joining, 1.5 inches. Then the length of the skirt part that I want is 27, and in order to achieve a fine ruch for the skirt part, I will multiply the length by 2, and that will give me 27 times 2, 54. So I'll be taking 54 down. I've folded with the largest part I'm working with, the largest circumference I'm working with, 1 inch seam allowance. Then the hip I'm working with is 40 divided by 4, 10 inches. So it's a free dress. I don't need to take, and with that 40 inches, there will be some ease because the client is 39, not exactly 40. So the 1 inch will still serve as an ease. So if this hip is exactly 40, you can add like 1 inch to create ease. ease for heat, but your heat allowance should not be too much. And this is because my cloth is not stretchy. If it's stretchy, I won't add anything. So I'm going to take 57 down, 57 inches plus 1 inch hem allowance. That is 58 inches. So after taking the 58 inches down, then I will now impute my measurement. The length from the waist to the above nail, I will be taking 19 inches. So I will just take my 19 inches this way. And at this 19 inches, I'm just going to come in by 1 inches. My 19 inches, I have to multiply it by 2. That will give me 38 inches. So anything you take, you multiply by 2, because you are doing a multiple of 2. Except for the circumference, the length should be multiplied by 2. So I'm taking 1 inch out. I will just use a curve ruler to blend it. Then I will be having, the whole length I'm having here is 11 inches. So here I expected to have 10 inches. So at this lower part too, I'm expected to have 10 inches. So these 10 inches, I'm just going to take it off. Please always use your ruler if you are not sure that your line will be straight. After that, I'll just cut out . So I'm going to use this to cut the back. I've laid the front pattern on the back, adding 1 inch for zipper allowance. So I'm just going to cut through this way. So if you care to know, I'm using 3 yards. 3 yards of material in all. Everything I'm cutting is from 3 yards of material. So I'm just going to split this into 2. That is the back. So after slitting, I will open it up. I will take it to the machine. I will sew down this 1 inches. Open it up and join it. After sewing the 1 inches down, it will be something like this. Then I will take the front pattern, align it with this, and join it down. So after joining the side, this is what I have. I have something like a tube. I hope you can see. Then where the zipper is going to pass, I open it up. The same thing, I open this plate up because it's going to have a slit at the back. So the next thing is I will be cutting an elastic, half-inch elastic of 29 inches, 29.5 inches in length. 29.5 inches. And I'm having 5 elastic of the same size here. So they are of the same sizes. I'm going to fist this elastic to the side. One will go to the center. Number 2 will go to one of the side, then another side we have 1, that is 3, then 2 we go to the back, making 5. So I'm going to fix 1 to this side of the back and the other to this side of the back. So I'm fixing the center front first. I've ironed and make a line. If you observe it, you see that there is a line there. I've ironed it in order to create a line there. So I'm going to follow that line. To start with, I'll take the elastic, put it exactly on the tip of the starting point. Then I will hold it down with the needle. I will hold it down with the needle. Take like 2 or 3 stitches. I back stitch, and then I will start pulling the elastic along with the cloth. After I pull back the elastic, I will release it on the cloth. Arrange the pleats. So when I'm done with that, I will put the elastic again. So it's the elastic that will be pulling the cloth. I will pull the elastic. I hope you can still see what I'm doing. You pull your elastic. After pulling the elastic, the moment you release it, it helps you to gather the dress. I hope you can see. And that's what I'm going to do to the 4 sides. Ready at the end. So when you get to the last stitch, you just back stitch. That is done. Then I'll remove my cloth again and start the second one. I will remove my cloth. Then for the side seam, I'm going to place my elastic not exactly on the seam. I'm going to place the elastic beside the seam, just like this, after the seam. Go down with the needle, take like 2 or 3 stitch back stitch. Then I will start to just pull and sew the same way. I will need to sew down a little bit because of the space that I'm going to use for the turn rubber casing. Then I will pull, and that's how I will do until I finish. After sewing the elastic, this is how it looks. So the nice thing now, this is how it looks. You see that it's coming out beautifully. Now the nice thing now is I'm going to put a vent at this back, and in order to do that, I will just take it to the machine, back to the machine. I will measure 12 inches, just the way it is, as it is gathered. I will measure 12 inches. So, and I will cut out 12 inches fabric. So I'm cutting out 24 inches, that is 12 inches unfold. 24 inches by 12 inches fabrics for the vent. So I will just cut this out. Yours may not be exact wide, long or wide. It depends on what you want, but this is what I want. You can manipulate your measurements the way you like. So after cutting it out this way, I'm going to take it now to the machine. So this is the lower part, and just the way it is gathered, I will just open this up. I will join this to this side. This is where I marked. Put it here. And join this to this side. Then the same thing. I will make sure it aligns. And I will also join this to this side. So I will sew it down. And after sewing that down, I will make sure that I reverse to lock up this place before I open up the stitches that is joining these two together. So I've joined the vent to it. I'm just going to create, you can see how I join it, and I've loosed that space. So I'm just going to create the vent. After creating the vent, then I will sew the lower part round. Then it will remain to join it with the upper part. After joining the side, I've overlocked it. This is how it looks. This is how it looks. So the next thing now is to cut the sleeve. I'm going to cut the sleeve out now so that we can join the sleeve to it. And after I've assembled the sleeve, then I can now join it to the lower. So I use what is available. I'm folding out 16.5 by 13 inches. So as I'm having 13 inches here, it will have elastic band here, as you are seeing it on the screen. So as I'm having 13 inches there, I will be using 1.5 inches for the elastic casing. So the main length I'm having is 11.5. So for it to drop, that will be around 9 inches on the body, which is okay for me. So I'm just going to take the measurement for the bicep cuff, and I'm taking 3 inches down. I'm cutting the two sleeves together. That's why I fold into 4. You can see. So then I'll just draw out a cuff. It's just as simple as this. So after cutting this way, I'll just take it to the machine now. I'm just trimming this piece. So the next thing is for me to take it down to the machine. I will fold in 1/4 of an inch. Then I will still take like half seam to fold in. I'm using the tiny rubber, 1/2 inch rubber. So I'm folding 1/4 inch. Then here I will run a loose stitch here for the gathers. And before I do that, I need to notch so that by the time I want to fix it to the blouse, I will know the center. So after taking the casing and running the gathers, this is what I have. So I'm going just this way. I'm going to pull the gathers together before I join it. So then for the rubber elastic, I've cut 11 inches. The upper arm that I'm working with is 12 inches, and I don't want it too tight, so I've cut 11 inches. So I'll just, with the help of a safety pin, I just put the pin. I'll pass it through the casing this way. I'll be watching it. Immediately I get to this end, I will hold it down with a pin and then continue. I will remove the safety pin and hold it down with a pin. After I use a seam to tie it down here and here, I will then put it together this way and I will sew it down. After that, I will just join it to the, I'm going to do that to the second sleeve, then I will join it to the body. So after sewing down the hem and the vent, this is what I have. So I'm going to turn this to the wrong side, and I will be turning this to the right side. Like this. I'll find the center. Notch it and tuck it in. I will tuck it in, aligning the center with the center, side seam with side seam. and the other side seam also with the side seam. Now at this point, if you remember at the beginning, I left 1.5 inches for this particular place. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drag this back, leaving to my 1.5 inches. So I'll drag it back this way. So I already have half inch for the sewing allowance for the waist on the top, and 1.5 inches for sewing allowance for the waist on the skirt. So what I will be having here is 1 inches. So the elastic has dragged it. I'm having 1 inches left here. So after sewing round, I'm just going to pull this up and use it as a casing for the elastic, and I will fix the zip. Then after that, you will see the finished work on my mannequin. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give me thumbs up, subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.